Tell you what, why don't we welcome John in real quick through the break? And I don't want him to hang on forever. John, can you hear us fine?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Hi, where are you calling from?
Tampa.
Oh, you're a local guy.
That's it.
John, next question is, how old are you?
54.
See, this is why John knows a lot about the music industry, because he's an old fart like me.
Those are the ones who survive, right?
I'm 52, John, so I'm right with you. Been doing radio since 1980, so I'm definitely an old timer.
Cool. Cool.
All right, hey, listen, we're going to hit a song here, going to a break, thank our sponsors, so I'm sorry you got to wait a little while on hold, but I didn't want you to not get introduced to our crazy audience, and we'll get to talk music on the other end, okay, John?
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you for standing by through the break. I really appreciate it. Okay. That's John C. Our next guest coming up right here. Dangerous Conversation, Bubba Army Radio on Radio I.O. This is, I'm paying attention, and it's funny because our guest John Seda is really trying to reach out like we do. We like to get these guys airplay, play them, turn people on to, don't get me wrong, terrestrial AM and FM is still helping break acts, but what is the old music industry compared to the new one? Because it is morphed. It is definitely changed. Napster, Metallica. I used to get Metallica on cassettes from my buddies. We all had those boom boxes with the decking, cassette dubbers in them to dub it. Yeah. And then you came high speed dubbing. Remember, it would dub it twice the speed. Yeah. And now they call that privacy invasion. They call it piracy. They call it all kinds of. Back then, we just call it bootlegs. They were bootlegs. Grateful Dead, bootlegs. People would spread music that way. The Internet's doing it now, and some of these bands are saying, well, wait a minute, it's cool, but wouldn't it be nice if we could have someone help us become a business entity? Yeah. We're not just artists. We're not just musicians, but let's do it that way. And John, bornamusician.com is your website, and now that I've kind of teed it up like that, why don't you add a little bit more as to why you decided to do Born a Musician?
Well, I guess we're going to go into a dangerous conversation. How about that?
Oh, always.
A couple of years ago, it's been quite some time. I've been running the studio at this location. It's Rising Sun Music for about 13 years now. And one thing I noticed in the last 5 or 6 years, where the musicians were coming up asking us, for help. What do we do? We can't make any money. There's a lot of this pay-to-play thing. What do you advise us? And the truth was that I started to realize that, because of the change, which is going to happen, there's always format changes. It's going to happen, in music. But this one was really interesting because it really got the majors by surprise because they were asleep at the wheel. And nobody really knew what to do until Steve Jobs came around and invented, iTunes and the iPod and all that stuff. So what I noticed, happened was that there was a lot of this kind of insinuating to artists that they should give away their music for free, and some started to believe that, and some do believe it. But I think the problem with that is that when you give away your intellectual property, and then what do you have next? You only have live performances after that, and they're not even paying what they used to. So how do you get artists to realize that giving away their music for free is not the answer? It is going to change now because we're going into a streaming era, which is going to be another total thing altogether. But the prices of the royalties are going to go up pretty soon. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And then that's probably going to be the next format for sure. Other than that, there's still going to be some downloads because for devices that are mobile and you take on the road with you and stuff like that. I think that artists, one of the things about file sharing that I want to share about is that I don't think it was designed actually to do, make music be free. I mean, a lot of these software companies or website development sites that have come up with these really cool things, a lot of them I've spoken to some of the owners and stuff like that, and they really, put these things together so artists could make money. But there's always that stigma about artists not doing well with business, or they don't want to talk about business. But the truth is, that's where we're at right now.
Well, John, let's go back in time a little bit first. Let's talk about the old music industry where, you let's face it, you were some doo-wop group standing on the side of the street, and and some guy goes, I want to record you guys, he has the recording devices. He has the acetate. He prints the vinyl. He distributes it. And back then they got 5 cents on the dollar, maybe 10 cents.
Right.
They were lucky. So, I'm kind of an advocate of, if we're going to make sure these guys get their money, let's make sure they get a lot more than they used to. What do you think of that?
I totally agree with you. I think that when you say used to, though, but a lot, they're not really, right now, like say, for example, Spotify, for every stream, they're getting 0.0018. So that's less than a penny, and then how many of those does it take for you to afford a bowl of curry? You know what I mean? So,
but what is the, let's go by, you just give me one example, and you're going to be educating me here, John.
Okay.
Let's go through, obviously iTunes is probably where you would make most of your money selling the whole, is there a Google payoff? Is there a Spotify?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what's the new thing that's just happened just a couple of months ago. On my site, bornamusician.com, distributes to 150 digital stores worldwide. There's actually some news right now that the number is going to go up highly, but I can't officially say it. But we definitely did a big deal with Asia, so it's going to we're going to be the biggest in the world very soon. So one of the things that we offer is that, let's say for example, when you sign with us, and you put your music video up on YouTube, we have a YouTube distribution, and what YouTube does is they watermark the audio file. Okay. Now the cool thing about that is that as soon as that band or artist puts up the music on YouTube, they're going to get paid 60% more than they would get with YouTube Direct, which is the same deal that the majors offer, and 40% more in Europe. 60% more in America and 40% more in Europe, right? But this is the cool part about this is, and this is what I really love about it, and I said it's about time they did this, is that if anybody steals your music or you uploads your music without your permission, or a friend of yours puts it on their website because they're a big fan of yours and stuff like that, you get paid for those views. The artist gets paid for the views, okay? So that really is a big thing, because it's going to do away with a lot of the letters, take down my music, you didn't have permission to do that. And to be truthful, if somebody's, let's say, has a lot of coverage, where people go to that site, that YouTube subscription, and the artist starts getting more views that they probably would get on their own page, let's say for example, that's a benefit for them, because they're going to make money from that. So and that's why you notice right now there's a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of comical videos they put together, and they get a lot of views for that. And because people tend to say, oh, that's funny, let me go there and click on that and like it, whatever, right, or dislike it. But the thing is that artist is making money for those views. And that's a new thing that YouTube came up with. And you're going to see a lot more of that happening right now, because, what was it, about a year ago, there was a big thing about the SOPA Act.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about CISPA, and SOPA, the idea that what we're being told from the very large corporations that want more regulation of the internet, that's a scary word in my book to be where I come from, but if it could help protect the rights, like you said, the intellectual property rights of a musician or an artist, is that going to be, is there going to be a war? Are they trying to get their hand in the till all over again? Because I just played an act a little while ago. The song is, maybe not exactly up everyone's cup of tea, if you will. Drops a lot of F-bombs and stuff. But the song is about him producing his own music, distributing his own music, selling his own music, and making his own money. But as his mini empire grew, he started to have to hire people to take care of making sure that the different avenues they used to try to keep their product is still a lot of work. It's still a lot of work. Oh, it's an immense amount of work. You have to be like what you guys are doing at bornamusician.com, not that I'm endorsing it, I just want you guys in music industry to go check these guys out. 150 digital distributors, or stores, if you will, where people could find your product. It's there. It's listed under, if your band begins with S, it's in there. You guys take care of all that on your end, John? You do all of that for the band? Yeah, and what we're doing right now that none of the other competitor websites is doing is that people that are signing up with me right now, I'm actually putting little commercials together for them. If they send me 8 or 10 HD pictures and stuff like that, high quality, high res pictures,
or if they send me a little bit of a video, we attach our commercial to it, and we put we text in their name of their band. We say now on iTunes, and we make it really prevalent that it's an advertisement for the record to sell. And they've been really happy about this, and it's working. This is just something we just started with, and we're not charging for that. We're just finding new ways. Our goal is basically to enhance our musical economy. Anything we can do to help artists to make money, that's what we're going to do. That's our goal, and that's our mission.
John, do you have like a partial package where someone doesn't sign everything away to you, where you could just help them do one specific or two specific things?
Well, we don't own the rights to anything. I mean, when it's a non-exclusive deal, they make all the money off their record sales, and they make all the money from the royalties. We don't touch anything. Our goal basically is to help artists, because I'm I'm a musician myself, and I've been in the recording for years. So this is kind of a personal thing for me too, to help artists, because I've understood and I know what it's like to go through all of these things that artists go through, and I think it's a time that a lot of us old farts, like you said, have to give back. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of the young artists that are coming up right now, they kind of like were introduced to this without nobody really kind of advising them what happened before. And it's kind of weird because, when you go to somebody who's younger and you say, well, we used to do this, and they go, well, I don't really care what you used to do. But the only thing is where the interest comes in is when you say, yeah, but I was making $300 a night performing myself with a band that would make $1,500, right? Let's say, for example. And now you guys are playing for $20 with the whole band. And that's happening in the Tampa Bay area. I mean, there's a couple of places that, are paying groups, for the whole band $60, $40 because they're doing originals, or they're paying to perform.
Yeah, I know, John. Believe me, I'm
and that really irritates me, because it's like, then what you're stating is that the value of that artist is less than a dishwasher, basically. And to me, that's what actually inspired me to build the site. Because sometimes you gotta some things that come to as a new thing that comes forward is done out of frustration. You say, you know what, I can do better than that, and this is what I want to do. I want to do better for the artist, and I think it can be a profitable business for everybody. And part of the thing that I think that needs to happen, and I hope you might agree with me on this, is that I think that we have to re-educate. I mean, we have to share that information that we know. Because a lot of the old school stuff, it wasn't all bad. I mean, there was some stuff that was where there was bad. I would say 50-50, right? And it was all based on one thing: you are responsible for the deal you sign. If you didn't read the contract, man, well, you should.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, we're going to be splitting hairs, but I am going to add a lot of these people, most of them, that were really, truly taken advantage of by the recording industry were probably illiterate and had to sign an X on their contract, never mind not being able to read it. Now, there are still people that have performed for 50s and 60s labels that are waiting for their paychecks. So
yeah, that's true, and that's been happening. Actually, to tell you the truth,
John, hang on.
Okay.
I'm not here to paint an image that the record labels are all evil. I'm here to just tell it like it was, and that's how it was. Now, Madonna, I believe, or the Stones are the highest paid, and they're looking at 20 cents on the dollar, okay? And that's the highest paid.
Right.
It's 20 points, roughly, and it only took them 4 or 5 decades apiece to achieve 20 cents on the dollar. And a lot of newbies, bands, undiscovered acts are out there, and they have a chance to sell that $9.99 CD, and other than the 35 cents for printing and everything else, or whatever it costs, they're pocketing their money. Now they're not going to, now they're learning, Facebook, Twitter, I can learn to distribute. There are guys that are doing it on their own, but they also need good advice. And I think that's really what I get from you. And by the way, you're a former musician. What instruments did you or do you still play?
I still play guitar. I'm a guitar player, and I produce right now a lot of young acts and work with different people. We just working with an artist locally from Clearwater. Her name is Rebecca Skolnick, and I had producer John Ravenhall, who had produced Elton John, Paul McCartney. He was here on the weekend. So I'm doing things to try to introduce artists from the area and give them, some opportunity. The best we can. So
I like that. You've been around Grammy winners, gold and platinum selling artists. The talent's always going to be there. Every generation has a tremendous amount of talent. We've seen TV shows that revolve around getting you famous. What would you say to that act that just comes up to you and goes, "We want to be famous. We want to be famous"?
To be honest with you, that kind of turns me off. I think that when you're focusing on being famous instead of focusing on your music, that your music will tell the story, basically. Because a lot of these guys that do say that, a lot of times their act is not together. I think if you focus on the music and focus on being as best as you can be, rehearse a lot, do as many gigs as possible, I think that the fame comes with it afterwards. I think that if your only focus is to be famous, then your intentions are not going to be true to music. And then it's a hard line, because then we can go back to saying when we grew up. When I grew up, it's funny. I remember this. I don't know if you ever thought about it this way, but when we had bands, our vision was we dreamed of selling a gold record or a platinum record. We never thought about the fame part about it. Now everything is focused on fame, but that's what's being brought up on TV with American Idol and all those kind of programs that are all contest programs, basically dangling the carrot of fame. So, but I don't really think that that's the way to look at it. I think you just got to be, if you're really good at something, people appreciate it. Fans are fans. If they like you, they're going to do whatever to get behind you. So I think that's what they should focus on.
That is John Seda. His business of a website called bornamusician.com. It's a very interesting time in the digital age because it is very easy, a little bit tougher to make copies of records back in the day or make yourself dupes of tapes or cassettes or reel-to-reels and bulky. Now you can download on a thumb drive someone else's material, and wouldn't it be nice if you are the guy making the record that if you actually made a little money out of it and you had a way to protect your intellectual property? Now, John, when you get to, let's say step one, me and my band, we've got our material out, but we just can't seem to get anything started through social media. We signed with you. It's going to cost, a few $100. I don't want you to actually have to give your prices out. I'm sure sometimes that's even negotiable.
No, it's actually cheap. It's $4.99 for a single, and it's $19.99 for an album for the first year, and then after that it's $39.99 a year for the album. We're actually the lowest priced and have the biggest count of stores. And pretty soon, one thing that we're going to offer that nobody's going to be able to offer, I can't say this. We just did a big deal with Asia, and one of our main providers is going to be Japan. We're going to be able to offer bands to hit the, which nobody else can do that right now, to be able to hit the mobile business in Japan, which is 340 stores. So this is just a partial count of what we're going to grow up to be, but it's a lot larger number. So
song was 500, album was 15.
No, the album for the first year is $19.99, an EP is $9.99, and a single is $4.99. $4.99. Okay, $19.99 for an album, and then the following year it's $39.99. It's a subscription. That's all we charge for. And we're, all that money that's going back into it, we're putting it into research and finding ways to, like I said, to help the bands make money. And one of our visions and goals is just to kind of give you an idea of what we're thinking about. If you don't mind me sharing that.
Absolutely, very important.
One of the things I'd like to do is be able to, when we're up and running and we're doing well, is to help sponsor shows that actually pay bands. And with that being said, for us, and the way I look at it is that if we can do it in such a way where we just break even and we'll be happy, then let the bands make the money. Because I think that one of the things that when you took away all this money out of the music industry, because it was a multi-billion-dollar business, right? And probably 2/3 of it or more has gone. We need to get that back. And that will help the country out too, to help people get jobs and help. And right now I'm approaching music manufacturers, and I'm getting a really good response from that because I'm telling them, listen, a guitar player usually, I don't know a guitar player that I know of, a really good guitar player that doesn't have more than 3 guitars or two plus and above. So I think it's to their best interest for them to find ways for artists to make money, because then they're putting back into the community, and then that artist is going to just spend more money on instruments, because that's how musicians are. They spend money on their own craft.
Oh yeah, the best part of being a musician, anybody who's a musician, is there's an old phrase: the musician brings his $500 car with $5,000 worth of gear in
That's the truth.
and drives 75 miles to do a $50 gig.
Hey, I don't know about the $50 gig anymore. Is that $50 for the whole band or what?
Well, That's a buddy of mine who plays in a band. He goes, that's the reality of he's old and he still loves playing for live audiences. So he says, yeah, my old beat-up car, my $5,000.
That's the truth, though. It's the reality. It's the reality of all. I mean, musicians sacrifice a lot to be able to put their music out there, and I think we should support them. And I think, I got asked a question the other day from this magazine from New York, right? And the lady said to me, what do we have to do to encourage the fans to support buying records? And I said, well, I don't really think it's the fans that are doing this. I think there's a lot of instances where the bands want to play. I think it's a mindset, and I always tell artists, don't turn away your blessings. If you're broke, let's just say, for example, and somebody comes up to you and says, hey, can you teach my son how to play guitar? Don't go and say, oh, well, I just do that, I don't really like to charge money for that. And then 2 minutes later, you're asking for a cigarette. I mean, if the guy's offering you $50, take it. I mean, that's a blessing. You should don't turn away your blessing. So I think it's a mindset. And I think that a lot of the stuff that's going on is based on a mindset. I think that if you really, if you really love what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with making money doing it. And I think that's where the problem is at. I think that we're all believing that it's all for the love of art. Now, for the love of art, I could play for you for the love of art, or for some friends of mine for the love of art, but I'm not going to play for a nightclub that's selling alcohol or a venue that's making thousands of dollars for the love of art. That doesn't make any sense.
John, let's cut to the chase. You picked up the guitar for chicks and money. Let's be honest.
Hey, that was part of it.
Be honest. John, hang on. We're going to play a track here. This isn't actually an English band. I know you're only going to hear them over the phone. You're not really going to understand how truly they remind me of old school AC/DC, and they're where are they, Rick? In England.
Yeah, in the UK.
They're called Hell's Addiction, and we'll finish up with John Seda after on Tuesday we play some tunes here.
Yeah, I think they're actually right around London.
Yeah, right around, and we've had them on the show. 4 great guys. We'll definitely remind you. This track is from their new CD. CD's called Raise Your Glass. You can find Hell's Addiction online. Who knows? If they're smart, maybe you'll be able to find them through John real soon. Let's go with track 2, Let the Good Times Roll on Dangerous Conversation. Get that post. John Seda on the line with us. The website is called bornamusician.com. In the new digital age, new bands, new artists, especially younger ones, maybe never get that big recording contract. Maybe they don't need it. Maybe you don't need that big giant record label telling you what to do. Maybe if you owned your own material and you had to, if you will, own the distribution rights. And John sounds to me like a guy who knows the record industry. John, how many years you been in the record industry?
Well, I've been doing this for about 30 years now. Locally in Tampa, been doing probably the recording thing going on for about 15 years or so more.
Ever do any stuff over at Morris Sound or no?
No, I always had my own studio. I actually did one thing over there. We did some mastering one time, and we had some tapes, 2-inch tapes that they transferred from me from 2-inch to masters to Pro Tools. That was a while back.
What do you use now? Digital board into Pro Tools?
No, I don't actually use Pro Tools. I use Nuendo and Cubase. I like the sound better. There is a difference in the algorithms. I'm actually endorsed with them also, which is Steinberg.net. But I use high-end preamps and outboard gear, a lot of tube stuff. So I kind of got the best of both worlds. It's a hybrid type studio, and it's set up to record live bands and stuff.
Yeah, you got to have analog in there too. You got to warm stuff up.
Oh, definitely.
Warm it up. Oh, big time. Hey, people you've bumped into in the past in the industry, people you've ever worked with, any names that we might have heard of?
I work with, say, 3 of the guys from Sly and the Family Stone, Jerry Martini, Cynthia Robinson, Greg Rico, who's actually the best man of my wedding, Giovanni Hidalgo, who's a percussionist, is a multi-Grammy winner. He worked with Paul Simon and Santana and a lot of other people, Dizzy Gillespie. Tony Perez, Latin jazz, 3-time Grammy winner. Juan Cobras, Little Richard, a lot of different folks.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Oh yeah.
Go down that price list again and let people know. First of all, how can they contact you? What's the best way to get in touch with you, John?
Well, if they want to email me direct, they can email me at John, John, right, at Rising Sun Digital, RISINGSUN, like the sun in the sky, digital.com. Or they can also find contact information at bornamusician.com. We also have a social page, which is free for artists, so artists can network, and it's called social.bornamusician.com.
I was just going to ask you about that one. I just want to talk about that just for a second anyway. Is that just for guys to meet guys, hey, we're looking for a bass player, or what?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing everything possible. We actually have an online magazine, which is called risingsundigital.com, and that happened actually by mistake, because this is one of many sites. We're building about 35 sites right now, of which 3 or 4 are being released right now. All the websites are in multiple languages. Like bornamusician.com is in English, Spanish, and Japanese. We have a Spanish site we're building. We have an all Japanese site that we're building. We're going to do a gospel site in the future. We're kind of like just experimenting with different ways of where sometimes things are genre friendly. So we're kind of like want to offer like the ice cream type of thing. Some people like strawberries, some people like chocolate, but basically it's the same company with the same feel. We're just making it easy and friendly for everybody, and that's what our goal is on that.
34 flavors of rock.
There you go, baby.
Yeah, John, the price range you mentioned. What if I had a song that I wanted to get on your 150 different digital stores across the world and soon in Asia? It's a one-time fees. How does that work? And give me the 3 different price ranges again, and what you get for that money.
Okay, $4.99 for a single. Year after that, $9.99 every year after that. Okay. You get basically based on the genre. It's 150 digital stores to distribute to, but you won't get all 150 because some stores are dedicated to techno, to hip hop, to rock, different things. Usually the rock bands benefit the most because those are the most most digital stores that are out there. Okay, so let's say in a nutshell, you're looking at rock band is going to probably hit 90 stores. The competitors that are out there are doing about 15, and some of them are doing up to 60, but that's with a total. And then we're also going to be able to offer, this is just a matter of programming, and that's why I can't release the information yet, but pretty soon, in a month or so, we'll be able to release a lot more stores than we have now. It's going to be an astronomical number. It kind of freaked me out because I got the news the other day and I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But that's a good thing.
Let me ask you about the way people eat up now. Are you talking about mostly, let's say, when you say Asia, they love American culture and music, so you really think that's going to open up a big market?
Well, here's just something interesting. My wife is Japanese, right? And one of the things that was stopping some of these groups to be able to go into that market was translation. So let's say, for example, I have a record, John Seda, right, and the song is called Today, whatever. We have to translate that to kanji or hiragana, right, which is the Japanese hieroglyphics, right? And so you wasn't able to do that before because nobody was offering those services. They didn't have those translation services. So we offer that right now. So basically, when that comes into play, you'll be able to pay $5.99 and have your record translated to another language, and then you'll be able to hit a ton of more stores, and that's a one-time fee, basically. So that's why it never happened before, because of the fact of the language barrier. But we're implementing what we call localization in our software. So we can go into Russia and all these different countries. I mean, outside of iTunes, because iTunes offers a service of like 75 stores worldwide that go to different countries. But outside of the other digital stores, we have to offer the translation service. Like, for example, Japan has actually 340 mobile stores. And they've been ahead of the game for a long time ago. This was way back in the days when they were using WMAs, way before the iPod and stuff like that. So now this is like a huge market in Japan, and nobody was able to do it because of just mere translation. So we have that taken care of.
Comrade Bushka, I love me, Rebel Inc. American band and Angels Conversation. I found them with John Seda on the internet. Vodka, more vodka. You know
like
what,
the
John?
vodka.
It sounds like you are slightly, Rick, you always, if you're a good businessman, and by the way, he's a musician, so he also has passion for what he's doing, because he's connected directly to it.
Right.
But knowing where the next big business opportunity is going to be, and watching what's happening to the music industry right now, John's a smart guy.
That's staying ahead of the curve right there.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
I think he
Thank you.
is. Yep. I was, stay in touch with us, John. I'd love to hear how things work out for you. And by the way, it's not my responsibility to turn our acts and bands that we play on to you, but I will let them know privately in emails if they feel like contacting you. I will give them that contact.
I appreciate that. And I have a local studio, so if you guys just want to come by and visit anytime, feel free. It's right here. I'm like 3 blocks off of Hillsborough, 1 block off of Havana. And we have a real nice studio. If you just want to come by and chat, we can just, talk, and you can check out the place.
Little jam session with John. Cool. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Get out the bongos, turn the lights down.
That's not that far. That's maybe 15 or so minutes away.
Yeah.
John, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
We'll keep in touch. Let us know how it works at bornamusician.com. John Seda, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
You got it, man. Sounds like a good. I'm sure I've run into him somewhere at a beach bar.